Alright, so what is going on, guys? And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Surge Plus indicators. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Christopher Ramirez. I am also the CEO of Modern Wealth Academy, or better known as MWA. Now, if you guys are coming here from the PDF guide, then you guys should already know who I am. But if you don't, I am a six-figure entrepreneur in the small state of Rhode Island. I also started trading around 2019, and then around 2022, I was able to actually get into, expert advisors and learn how to, code different systems and indicators and stuff like that. So I am going on about 3 years when it comes to, developing EA systems, learning about EA systems and coding different, indicators and stuff like that. But when it comes to trading, I have been in this industry for the last 6 years, and I have also made multiple six figures in this industry, whether it's from trading, from using an EA, from reselling different things. There's so many different ways to make money in this industry. But without further ado, that's a little bit about me in case you guys didn't read the guide. So let's just get straight into these indicators so you guys can understand how it works, the different settings and stuff like that. It's very, very simple. This video should probably be less than 5 minutes. So first things first, when you guys purchase it, you guys are going to receive an email, right? And in the email, I'm sure it brought you guys to this page. What you guys are going to be able to do is just add it to your favorites. And then once you're on your chart, whether it's US 30, gold, Bitcoin, just head on over to your indicators, hit favorites, and then you guys should be able to see Surge Plus down here, right? And if you guys don't, you guys can go to indicators and simply type in, Surge Plus, and you guys should be able to find it, all right? Now, if you go over to the top left-hand side, you're going to see the settings button. Once you select that, you're going to have two main calculations. You're going to have the length and the band multiplier. I'm going to move this for a side, and we're going to actually change these numbers so you guys can see how they hold up. So instead of 70, which is what's on the chart right now, we're going to do 120. Just, a dramatic increase so you guys can see how it affects the actual charts. All right. So the length is counting back 120 candles. Now for the band multiplier, this basically is just, how thick these bands actually are. So for example, let's just say we put 3.0. You guys are going to see it's going to get some very thick bands. Now, something I do want you guys to understand, the length is, like I said, going back 120 candles to be able to kind of catch and determine that trend. Now, the band multiplier, one thing to keep in mind, once the candle starts to break out of, the band multiplier, that's when you're really going to get that trend change. So for example, the candles ended up crossing below this. We got that sell. Again, right here, the candles ended up crossing above this band and closing above it, and that gave us a trend change for the buy. So it's very, very simple. The concept is very easy. Now, I use this, when there's news. For example, like today, we had heavy news today, all day today. We were already in a buy trend. If you pair that up with your, technical analysis, I'm pretty sure you would have been able to catch that buy as well. But this does a really good job at catching the tops, reversals, and everything like that. A lot of people ask me, when do I like to use this? Me personally, I love to use it during New York session. So for example, we're going to highlight this at 8 a.m. and then we can typically stop trading around, 11 a.m. That's typically fine for me. Within this window right here, you have a perfect re-entry to basically enter in on the market in case you missed this initial, trend change, all right? But again, it does work in all markets, but obviously it's going to work best when the markets are moving very strong, the markets are very volatile. If you guys want to pair this up with, let's say, an ADX or something like that, you guys can do so as well. That way you guys can know how strong the trend's actually going to be moving. And I'll show you guys what that looks like right now. So now what I'm going to actually do is put these vertical lines back for 8 a.m. and for 11 a.m. like I said. Now I'm going to draw one more line, and it's going to be when the ADX crossed above, my 25 parameter, which ended up being around here. And I'm going to put this in black. So boom, now that we know we're in a buy trend, right? We have the volume going in our direction, in our favor. We just had a re-entry get called. In case you missed any one of these, or let's just say you want to play a lot safer, you could have most definitely taken an entry right over here. Let's just say you missed the first one, or you're waiting for it to cross. You could have entered anywhere over here. You could have caught a crazy amount of points, right? Stop loss could have been below the band. It would have been perfectly fine, right? So this is essentially more for advanced people, like if you want to pair it up with different things. But like I said, by all means, you guys can use the indicators by itself. You guys can pair with the ADX. You guys can pair with your strategy. But no matter what, using it by itself does really, really well. Like I said, especially during New York session. Now we're going to take a look at gold. And again, we're on the 5-minute time frame. If you guys want to use on the 15, the 1 minute, you guys can do so. But you're going to want to change the actual parameters in here, obviously, to make things make sense. For, the 5-minute time frame, I either use a 100 for the length and 1.2 for the band multiplier, or, 120 and 2.0. kind of figure out and play around with what works for you. But again, right here would actually be a perfect example of a loss, and losses are going to happen, right? No indicators 100%. But yeah, right here, you would have basically took a sell right here. You would have got stopped out. I typically put my stop loss above the tag no matter what, either above the tag or, above or below a high or low. All right. So that's that right there. Now, let's say you got stopped out during New York session. That's cool. We wait for the next one. Boom. We take a buy position here. Again, your stop loss can go below the low or it can go below the tag. All right. And then you guys can either aim for a 1-to-1, a 1-to-1.5, or a 1-to-2. You guys can try your stop losses. Whatever the case is, you guys can manage your trades from there. Now we have Bitcoin, and I'm going to actually turn off the New York session because I don't want you guys to think that it just works for New York session. Like, it works for New York, works for London, even Asia session sometimes. It really just all depends on the pair. Like I said, play around with the length, the multiplier, back test, and just kind of, look back and see what works best, what doesn't. Again, beautiful, beautiful change right here. We have a buy trend get all the way up, and look where it called it at. Called it right here. Again, it's a no repainting indicator. So when this buy tag appears, wait for that candlestick to close and you're locked in. You would have got your entry right around here at the top. As soon as this bearish candle had formed, you would have got in, made this whole move. Same thing with this sell. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Right, so you're catching this whole freaking move. It's great. And again, we have the buy, we take the buy. We have the sell, we take the sell. If you guys want to take re-entries, you guys can do so. I prefer to only take the first re-entry. All right, that's key. I'm not taking any of these re-entries down here. I'm only taking the first one. If I do miss it, maybe the second one. But yeah, that's actually gonna lead me to my next thing I want to go over. If you guys need to set the alerts, you guys go to the top left section, hit the 3 dots, go to add alert on Surge Plus. You have your symbol, right? We're gonna do it for the bullish trend. So when we have this bullish trend right here, that's when you're gonna set it up. Then you're gonna hit for the trigger once per bar close, right? And then keep mind of the expiration. If you're a premium member and you can keep, open-ended alerts, by all means do so. Majority of people, they don't have open-ended alerts, so it will expire in a month and you will have to redo this process again. So keep that in mind, all right? But that's pretty much how you set the alerts. Again, if you want the bearish trend, you can do that. Just, set it up again. If you guys want to catch the re-entries, you guys can do so. Just again, set it up once more. But that is pretty much all I have. Like I said, on the days that there's news, for example, like today, there was heavy news. You guys can see we catch these moves like crazy. I've never been scared to trade news when it comes to this indicator, because 9 times out of 10, this thing is usually right and it just goes in the correct direction. If you guys want to feel safe, wait 5 minutes after the news. Once that candlestick closes and you're in that trend direction and it stays, stay with it, take that trade. You guys are good to go. But I will leave you guys with that. Now, if you guys like the idea of our indicators and you guys do want to get it automated, we do have Surge Plus EA. All right, I'm going to run through this really fast. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You guys can see the profits that it makes for the day. You guys can see some back tests over here and some more information. This is what it looks like when it's on your chart. Guarantee you, nobody has this. It's not a resold EA. Want to know why? Because I developed it myself. All right. These are the settings that it has as well. And then we also have a course that pretty much goes over every single thing you're going to need to know. So even if you are a beginner and you just want to make money passively, let's say you have a job, you have a wife and kids, or, you just want to have something just investing for you in the market safely, you can pretty much set that up for yourself. Honestly, the setup is very easy. It's going to take less than 5 minutes for me. But if you're a beginner, you can run through this in 20-30 minutes and get set up. And then a little bit down here, we have some results from other people. Testing Bitcoin on the weekends, people running it on their FTMO accounts. Another guy made $14,000 for the day with our EA system. This is my personal result, $784. We have another guy making $178, and then we have another guy that made 3.4% or $3,400 on his 100K account. And then again, everything that comes with it, you're gonna get the Surge Plus EA, all the Surge Plus indicators, because again, we have the indicators on MT4 and MT5. And then lifetime updates, the beginner-friendly course, a private Discord and community, and proven back-tested set files. Everything's going to be bundled in. Now, one last thing before I do end this video. It's very important that when you guys purchase it, you do give me your Discord username, or you hit me up saying, hey, I'm in the Discord, can you verify me? That's very important so you guys can get in the chats and you guys can stay up to date with all the great results that we have every single day. Now, if you guys don't have my Telegram, you guys can very easily go to the Stand store. This is exactly where you guys had purchased it. Just simply go back, hit the Let's Chat, and it's going to give you guys my Telegram. If that's too much, you guys can just reach out to me on Telegram right here at Chris Ramirez 401. Make sure everything is spelled correctly because there are a lot of impersonators. But that's pretty much all that I have. If you guys have any questions, you guys want to chat with me, feel free to reach out right here. All right. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.